there, St. Luke's. It's good to be back with you for this midweek message. I trust that you are all in the busy Christmas preparation time with various shopping and parties and all of the things going on to get ready. And so there are a couple of announcements that we have for your edification. We have a service at 4:30 with a 4 o'clock preamble for families. There will be a special sermon geared towards children for the 4:30 service. And then beginning at 8, we have a festive prelude with the choir for our 8:30 service. So both candlelight services with silent night and candlelight. And then we do have a 10 o'clock Christmas morning service, which will not have a childcare available, but you feel free to bring your children if that's something you'd like to do. We'll just, the more the merrier on Christmas morning. I also wanted to just put in a plug for your consideration in the new year to join the choir. We have a strong and sturdy choir, and we have open seats up there, and it would be a joy to have a full sort of choir up there. So that's the goal. 2023 in part is the year of the choir, and so just wanted to put that in your sort of out there for your consideration. And also look ahead towards Epiphany. We are going to have 2 offerings during Epiphany, beginning with the burning of the greenery on Friday, January 6th, which is Epiphany. We're going to have a short service. We're going to have a bonfire, and we're going to light the fire, which will be a symbolic of the star that descended over the Bethlehem manger, where the Magi were able to see and follow and come worship the Lord. That's what begins Epiphany. And then beginning on Monday, January 9th, we'll be having the Discovery class, which is open to a variety of people. We're going to call it, if you're interested in adult confirmation, if you are interested in becoming a member of the church, if you are simply someone fairly new to Anglicanism or perhaps been long-term here but would like to learn more about Anglicanism, or if you're just someone who wants a refresher, sort of a Christian theology refresher class, well, then this is the class for you. So 6 o'clock to 7:30 in the M&M building. It's beginning January 9th. I'll be teaching that. We'll have a hard stop at 7:30. Also, during Epiphany, we're going to have a 6-week class, the 6 weeks of Epiphany, beginning on January 11th. And I'm going to be teaching through the book of Galatians. And so we're going to have a dinner. We're calling it Pizziphany, and I mentioned this last week. We're going to have a dinner at 5:45. We're going to have a short evening prayer service at 6:20. We're going to start right at 6:30 and end promptly at 7:30 through the book of Galatians. And so this is the Apostle Paul's epiphany to the world, where he had been knocked off his horse on the road to Damascus by the risen Lord. He was then turned around. He went out into the wilderness, or he went into his study, I should say, and reworked and went through the entire scriptures in light of the death and resurrection of Christ, and came back and began preaching to the world. And he writes this as much in Galatians, and we're going to walk through and see how this letter changed the world. It was one of the most powerful ones that Paul wrote, and it is a gift to us. And so come with us during Epiphany as we walk through the book of Galatians. But that's not really what I wanted. Those are just announcements. What I wanted to talk to you about today is something that the vestry just this last night has decided to do, and it affects it's a little bit of a story that I will allow Gleaves Rhodes, who's one of our outgoing vestry people, to tell you. But it's a quite remarkable one, and I want her to share it with you, and I think you'll be excited and touched, as I am, by the generosity of your vestry, and the bonds of Christian brother and sisterhood that exist here on Hilton Head Island. So okay. I'll let Gleaves.
I want to tell you all about something that was going on in the spring. The court case was going on, and it looked like we were going to lose our property. And so we had to come up with a plan of where we were going to worship. And Jim McGurk appointed 3 of us to come up with a plan B. And that was Kent James, Elizabeth Glick, and myself. And we had 3 choices at that point. We could do office buildings, but nothing was looking big enough for us. There was the Bilo property. And Elizabeth said she thought that Providence Presbyterian Church had a preschool building that they were not using. So we added Providence Presbyterian Church to the list. We approached Bill Ward, and he is the pastor of that church, and we set up a meeting for one afternoon and invited Janice Ring and Rick to come with us because they needed to study the preschool building. We spent all afternoon going around their campus. They have a very large campus with lots of buildings, and we looked at everything. Janice spent a lot of time in that building, the preschool building. It was a little small, but they thought they could make it work. It had a playground, but the equipment was in terrible condition. They had to think about security, lots of things. Now, we didn't know at that time if we lost our property, if we had to be out in 3 weeks or if we had to be out in 48 hours. And so she had to go to the state to talk about the regulations and how she would get it certified and would they give her an extension and so forth. So there was a lot of things that she had to go through. She and Rick made multiple trips over the summer to studying that building. Now the rest of us looked at other buildings. There was a chapel in the woods that was charming. It had a good sound system, but it was a little small for our 10 o'clock service. It had no bathroom. That was going to be a big problem. They had another building that was like our Cron's Fellowship Hall. We studied that. It was a big deal. They were willing to let us come onto their property on Sunday morning while their service is going on to have our services. We also had to think about where Nana would hold her choir rehearsals during the week. So we weren't talking just about Sunday, we were talking about some weekday time as well. So this progressed all during the summer. Bill Ward it had to be a church decision for them. And so he went back to his sessions, and the sessions is their equivalent to our vestry. They had to vote on this. We talked about a contract, what we would pay them, how we would work it out, so many details. But we were getting down to the wire. We even got to the place where one Sunday I was out in the parking lot counting how many cars we had in our parking lot, and that Sunday they were counting how many empty spaces they had in their parking lot, and we're comparing notes because I think we had more cars than they had spaces, so that meant we were going to be, some of our people were going to be parking in the parking lot of the hotel adjacent to the property. Anyway, lots of details. But the point of this is they opened their campus, they opened their hearts to us. They're Presbyterians, we're Anglicans, that wasn't a problem. We were just all Christians, brothers and sisters, and we were in a crisis, and they were willing to come alongside of us and help us. Now, the point of my telling you this is we are so grateful to what they were willing to do for us. And we need to say thank you. And the vestry has come up with the idea of starting a discretionary fund to give them a financial gift. And we have, everyone on the vestry has pledged to contribute to that fund. And if you all feel moved and called, would you please contribute to that fund as well? We're calling it Providence Presbyterian Discretionary Fund. And if you write a check, you can just put PP, Discretionary Fund. You can put it in the plate, or you can send it to the office and make sure that Michelle gets it. We've signed a card. The vestry has signed a card. And the message on the card is, the Vestry of St. Luke's wants to thank you for your generous spirit and kind hearts towards us in our time of need. Unfortunately for us, the court granted us our property, but your standing by our side in this crisis meant so very much to us and gave us hope, knowing we had friends in the kingdom of God. with gratitude and Christmas blessings. So we would love to have you all join us in saying thank you to our friends, our Christian brothers and sisters at Providence Presbyterian Church.
Well, that's quite a story, and it's quite remarkable. And I have to say, even listening to it brought back in my own relationship to that entire season, because as you know, when we were when the search committee came up to Christchurch to see us, we had just learned, as had y'all, that we had lost the lawsuit, and so it was a little bit more of a somber occasion, because the prospect of coming down to Hilton Head was fraught with uncertainty, in the same way that staying in Christchurch was fraught with uncertainty. And yet, because of the generosity and the open-heartedness of Providence Presbyterian and Bill Ward, their pastor, and their session, we had great joy and confidence that, well, even if we didn't have this beautiful property, we had an open-hearted space to worship, and the Lord was going to provide come what may. And so it was with great joy, obviously, that we got the news that we were able to keep this building. And yet the confidence and the courage that your vestry showed, the search committee evinced, and then you as a congregation were prepared to walk in was and remains such a beacon of Christian encouragement and hope to me and to my family, and to the rest of the diocese, frankly. So thank you for that, and please give generously if you can to help just show a small token of affection and gratitude for Providence Presbyterian and their leadership, that were so willing to help out a fellow church in need. And so I want to end today with a little bit more good news, even more good news. I don't want to spoil I don't want to spoil it for you, but let's just say the Lord is delivering in mighty ways people all over the diocese from some of the predicaments that they've been in because of the lawsuits. And in particular, I wanted to let Ted Duval, my former rector and dear friend, and I want to share with you some announcements that he recently gave to his congregation, and we'll let that be the final word for this hopeful season of gratitude and thanksgiving in preparation for the birth of our Lord that we are getting to walk through here at St. Luke. So take care, God bless, and hope to see you if you're traveling mercies, and we hope to see you if you're in town at one of our various Christmas offerings till we get to celebrate once again the dawn of redeeming grace. So take care, and God bless.
Are you listening? God, in His great grace, has given us a gift. On Thursday afternoon, I joined our senior warden, Jeff Gum, and other members of the vestry at Rick Brownyard's law office. Some of you may know that Rick Brownyard is a real estate attorney. We were there to close on a piece of land in North Mount Pleasant. And you say, how can you close on a piece of land big enough to build a church on in North Mount Pleasant when we haven't even had a capital campaign? Father Ted, do you know how much that much land would cost? I do. I do. But there is a family in the congregation who also knows that, and unsolicited came to us and said, we would like to buy a piece of land for our church whenever the vestry is ready. Their timetable, their criteria, we don't want to mess with that. We just want you to know that this money is here and available to you for our church. And so we took that $3.2 million and we bought a piece of land. While you're up, grab the hand of the person beside you. Grab the hand of the person beside you and hold it up. Hold it up and repeat after me. We are Christ Church Anglican. The Lord of hosts is with us. The people of God are for us. We are to make disciples. In everything becoming more like Christ. Praise God.